Hello gamers, Matt Lemke here with True Gamer Goggles. Today we'll be doing a figure forge. In this figure forge we're going to be assembling the Hordes Dire Troll Blitzer Bomber Mauler model from Privateer Press. It's a plastic miniatures kit that is multi-model. So here's the pieces that I have to work with. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start assembling this. We will be using Zap-A-Gap glue, zip kicker if it's needed. Since this is a plastic / resin model, we probably won't need it. You may or may not need a hobby knife. You will most likely need a 1mm drill bit for this project unless you do not wish to make more than one model. We will be using 1mm rare earth magnets. Maybe we may step that up a little bit depending on what we discover. So I'm going to pull all this stuff aside, and we're going to start by taking the torso and the leg piece. What you can see here is that this fits in here like this, and then your other two, we'll call them main pieces, go in here nicely. I think that once we get this glued into place, you'll be able to swap this in and out without using a magnet. If you do need a magnet, what I would recommend doing is gluing one right here and taking the drill right into there just a little bit and popping it in at the top of the model. So we're going to go ahead and glue this in here. Just right in the front is where I want the glue. Hold that for, I don't know, maybe a count of 10. Maybe a little bit longer. Super glue really depends on the amount of humidity in the air, temperature. They're all scientific factors in the chemical reaction of the bonding. Like, this isn't dry yet, I can tell. So I just can't set this aside yet. And even if I could, I wouldn't really be able to do anything else without the rest of the body. So while it's drying, I'm going to try and figure some other things out. That has dried. So now I'm going to take some time here and I'm going to look at how to make this a multi-model kit. I don't know how tough or easy that is going to be. Really, in making this a multi-model kit, you only have to worry about swapping. Well, you only have to worry about whether or not you want this arm over here to move when you swap the hands in and out. Because you got the bomber hands. Whoops, I need to clean that one up a little bit. Here's my knife. There's a little bit of fray there. You got your bomber hands. And this is the wrong hand. It's the wrong side. You get your bomber hand here, and you put it in here. You can either have it up like this, down like this, and that's really where the dilemma for the arms come in, because you have 3 arms, or you have 2 that are pretty much bent the same way, and 1 that's kind of not bent, like he's trying to grab. So, and the cool thing about these arms is they're kind of interchangeable on either side. So you can have a guy that's going crazy like this with his arms forward, kind of like suction cups right now. Or you can have one arm that's down a little bit lower. It's all up to you. The problem I'm having with I'm not really having it with magnetizing it, but I don't think that I'm going to make an arm that's going to swap out, because that's a pretty deep hole. That's a lot of, I either have to fill that with putty or magnetize it. So I'm just going to select for my model how I want him to kind of look and try and envision it. I think I want this arm. I want this arm here, like this. That way, if he has I have to file that a little bit, but that way he can have this bomb in that hand, like that. He can take these claws, pretty much, I can make them any way I want, and this will magnetize nicely, actually, with a 1mm. Oh, wow. Actually, I think I'm going to have to be very picky with what I do, because those are deep. So I either have to do several magnets, or I have to do a bigger magnet, which I don't have any big magnets. So looks like I'll only do it on one hand for the video today. I never would have thought that those were a 1/4 inch deep. That's probably and they're drilled out. Well, they're not drilled out, but they look like they've been drilled out. So I can go like this with some large rare earth magnets. That'll work nicely. The only problem that I have with something like that is that it's going into something round. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try that on that side, and we're going to set this aside and we're going to let it dry. Now, if you do it right, gravity will do its job, and that'll self-level. It's not an easy thing to put the magnet in here and get it level. Once you have it relatively level, I suggest you set it aside. That is probably a 3/16 by 1/4 inch rare earth magnet. Let's see if it's got the sizes on the back of this pack. Now this is not my multi-pack anymore. I don't remember what's in here. This was 100 1mm magnets. So I'm going to set this aside and let that dry without knocking it over. Where's my sticky tack? Sticky tack is great for things like this. You can set it aside to any angle you want. It'll hold it up. Like, for example, I just put it on a steel case container, big blue wad of sticky tack, holding it in place. And then we're going to go over here to the other. I glued this on ahead of time. Now we're just going to take this off here like this. And I did that basically to show you that model, or that magnet, is... I'm going to put these other magnets away before I lose them. That's all I need is them to shoot up onto a laptop somewhere, right? That magnet is about the same size as the depth. I'm going to use my tweezers to pop that off real quick. Actually, I'm going to grab a Sharpie. My Sharpie's gone. There it is. And I'm going to mark this. So I know to glue that side down. Because I am going to set that aside. And then anything that's going to be on the that's going to be the right hand side, I can go ahead and I can drill out the bottom. Same thing on this one. I can drill out the middle to put that in there so it recesses. And then there's one more fist that I can drill out. And just to show you how easy that's going to be, you basically just go right into the middle. You can eyeball it. Doesn't take much. And then you can just go like this. Boom. I have to drill that out a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to have to drill that out quite a bit more. But that's okay. I'm only going to drill one out on camera. The rest I'll do off camera. This is just to show you how to do it real quick. And actually, when you first do this, you might notice that you don't need to put the magnet in because they fit tight. Like I drilled this a little wide because I was a little bit off on my center. There was a little bit of a mark there that I didn't file off because it was going to be hidden. But so I'm going to have to go ahead and put the magnet in. Well, that's the basic idea of that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a dab of glue in here. Then I'm going to take my knife and put the rare earth magnet on that so that the black spot is facing up. And then I'm just going to go like this, put it in there flush, and then the important part is letting it dry. Set it aside, let it dry. Okay, what can I do next? Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean this off a little bit more so I don't have that same problem again with a flat file, or in this case a square file. And I'm going to go ahead and drill it out while they're drying. Again, that's the right hand side. Again, it's going to have to be just deep enough for a magnet. Going to go grab it. Oh, here we go. I'm going to grab another set of magnets here. Make sure that they're make sure that you get it on the right way. Like so. Mark the bottom side. Grab your tweezers. Just go ahead right ahead and put it right onto your... Okay, gamers, I'm back. I had a little bit of technical difficulty there. I apparently ran out of film, so I needed to go dump some into storage. So again, we're going to get back to building our Mauler here. We're going to put a little drop of glue in there. Wipe off the excess with a piece of foam that comes with models to protect it. Don't throw that stuff out, it's valuable. Then you're going to take this on your hobby knife. You're going to make sure that the marked side goes in. Take a piece of resin from a kit, push it in, bam. Take our other one, see how we did. Well, I should have pushed him in a little bit farther, it looks like. Maybe I still can. Nope. He's stuck that way. That's okay. If I really am unhappy with it, which I am, I'll just sculpt something on there. I'm not much of a sculptor, but he's a troll. How pretty does it have to be? And the 1mm magnets are clearly the right size for this. They're big enough. Almost too small. So that means this one here, I'm going to try and push that in more if I can. Don't want to use my drill bit to do it though. So I'm going to use a crummy old screwdriver. I managed to get it in about 1/16 of an inch deeper. So with any luck, that'll sit better once it's dry. Now, we're going to go over here, we're going to grab this, and we're going to take our magnet that it conveniently stuck to my tweezers, and it wasn't dry. So, that is a dilemma you're going to have when you do this. Now the magnet's stuck to my fingers because they dried together. That is a huge problem. How huge? I don't know. Better put this up before that glue runs all over. Put it back in the sticky tack real quick. Carefully try and take your knife. If this happens to you, and separate the gap. Try and put the magnet back in here, leveling it. As best you can. It looks like I'm going to have to let that dry overnight. My concern is whether or not I'm going to have to recess it on the arm. I think it's going to be awfully close. It really is going to depend on how much I have this leveled. Go ahead, I'm going to cheat. Look at that bubbling up, drying. I'm going to really let that dry off a little bit, and then I'm going to actually wipe it out. Because I'm going to put the magnet in there. I don't want it to yank it out and get all crummy. We'll set that aside a little bit, let that dry a little bit more. And we're going to look at some of these other pieces. We've got this hand that should be glued or magnetized and done. Like I said before, it'll be a tight fit, but it's a definitely a better fit. I'm going to go ahead and cut his resin kit up here a little bit, because I don't like the way it's sitting. Now I got to be careful not to hit that there. And, well, I don't want to cut myself for one, but I would rather cut myself than the Mauler, because I'm me. But at the same time, I don't want to cut too deep and ruin the work I did on the magnet. Real quick, I'll just hit this with a file. And he magnetized just fine. Now he has some posability. I actually like him carrying it like that. And where's the other one? Put that over there. Here's the other one I did. It's not looking as kosher. So I may just destroy that magnet and ruin it and cut it out. Or I may attempt to sculpt a little bit of a collar there. Now we're going to do, oh, that's the wrong hand. We're going to do this right hand, which goes like this. And my magnet's not perfectly centered, so I need to pay a little bit more attention to where I put this hole. Take your hobby knife, clean off the burrs a little bit. Grab another magnet set, stick it on here, take one of those two off, set it aside, mark the bottom of this. Now, I'm going to show you something else that, depending on how picky you are, may or may not save you some time. This is a pretty tight fit. And I drilled this hole a little bit deep, so I should be able to recess this without too much difficulty. And actually, since there's no glue on it, I could probably recess it with the drill bit quite nicely. Which I do want this one to go a little bit deeper, just to show you what a tight fit can do. That's not glued. Needs a little bit of work right there. But I can take care of that with a file. It's a little high. A little bit of knifing. And then I'll hit it with a file maybe. I actually shoved the magnet a little too deep. I don't feel any of the tension on it. There you go. One arm set's done. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab him And we're going to put his leg on, and then we might put him on the base. His leg is pretty straightforward. It just slides in there. That's the only way it can go in there. I just noticed some burrs on his feet. I'm going to clean those off so I can glue them down better when I get to that part. And I'm going to put some glue in his leg here. Pretty generous drop, actually. And then I'm going to put his leg on. Let that dry. Take this magnet, actually. Get it set. You might be like, huh, why'd you do that? Well, one, I know that because I zip kicked it, it's already dry. Two, I needed to find out which side is which. Now you have two options here. You can just put it on like that, which kind of looks lame. You can take the time and file that all the way off. Or you can find a drill bit that's that size, which is pretty much the size of that divot. And I just pulled that leg off. Which is pretty much the size of that divot. Which I don't want to do. There's another option. You can take two 1mm magnets, put it at the top and the bottom, or maybe even just one, right smack dab. Well, it really doesn't matter where it goes if you take that piece off. That's going to be a little bit of work. I'm not going to do all that on camera. But we will go ahead and, since this arm is magnetized, I'm going to go ahead and glue it on. I don't need to show you how to do everything on camera. And I'm going to take this arm because it seems to be the biggest one. So I kind of know where it's going to be. And that's what I want. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on him still. Oh my gosh, that magnet is good. Took a little bit to make the contact, but once it's there, it's there. And I'm just going to glue this arm on, the right arm, with three hands that can oppose each other, or they can be switched in and out. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue here, because it's not going to do any good to glue here, because that's just too deep. And I'm going to carefully put a little bit of glue around the edges. And then I'm going to carefully place it where I want it placed. Ah, crap. Whoops. Which, then you gotta hold it, let it dry. Oh, that's looking a little low. So, I actually need to switch that to one of these more bent arms. Otherwise it'll be on the ground. Good thing I put his leg on and took a look at that. Which is kind of bad. Which means I totally made that arm magnetic for the wrong side. So I have to go through and magnetize the other side. Because Wow. Yeah. I'll put the magnets on those two sides. I'll file those off. And then we'll have to figure out how to magnetize that. Which I have an interesting idea for that already. Which I'm going to pause for a minute. And I'll be back. Well, actually, I'm going to take the time right now to glue him on the base. He can dry while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Use my multitasking skills of my tweezers to hold him up while he's drying. And I will pause and be right back. I have an excellent idea for this. Well, I'm back. Let's see if he's dried to the base. He has. We're going to set him aside. We have green stuff. Let's see if I can get it out. I don't use green stuff too much because I don't sculpt a lot. So, we're going to take some of the green stuff with our knife. We're going to take a good bit, actually. Equal portions. And usually, I would recommend that you wear gloves when you do this. But me, I'm going to die from cancer anyway. It's hereditary. So, don't do this at home, folks. This way. Get yourself some throwaway latex gloves that I'm out of, that I use for cleaning. Two equal, relatively equal portions. And then you get yourself a piece of crummy cardboard or something that you don't care about to work on. And you just kind of fold it together. This is probably way too much putty. And you just keep working it. And working it. And working it until it's green. You've just started it to be its bonding agent. That's pretty green. Nice mix there. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab that arm. This arm that I glued on. And we're going to fill it. So we're going to go like this. Take about half this actually. Now the problem with doing this is this is going to take a while to dry. And we're going to get that. And we're going to take the base of my round file that I have. And we're just going to fill this in here like this. We're probably going to scrape some of that out of there because these hands need to be able to go in there. So, now I'm going to clean that off. I've got it formed basically. I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to clean this piece off first. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to start cleaning this off. And look at that. I have a little dimple hole for where my drill needs my magnet to go. Now sadly I have to let this dry before I can really go any farther. But the good news is that if I do this right, come on, magnet. If I do this right, I can take these magnets here, pick them up, put them in here, go like this. Look at that. I know where they go. My hole has been drilled. My hole has been drilled. Now part of that is sticking to the sticky tack. And as it dries, I'll be able to work it more. That's how you do this. When it dries, I'll have to take all that out of there. Now on this side, I'm going to have to do some serious work. I'm going to have to either cut this off, which is no easy task. I can just rock back and forth here like this, and I'll eventually cut that off. Hey, what am I doing? I'm being dumb, right? I forgot. I got 2 magnets in there. That's what happens when you make mistakes. You don't realize what you do all the time. So now I can take this side here, and with any luck, they don't match. So I gotta break this one off. That's a simple thing to do because it's just super glue. But when you make mistakes, you gotta be prepared to fix things. I broke that magnet off, no problem. So now here's what you do. You go like that. Take a piece of plastic, resin or something, sprue bit, put it in the middle, and you hold this up here next to it, like this, and you see what it looks like. I still need to cut this off. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this off on this one. Going to require some filing on my part because I really screwed this up. Don't do that at home. If I had a Dremel, I'd be done with this already. Because I would have just Dremeled it right off. And of course the super glue is making it a little bit tougher than it should be. Because this is the one I had glue on. But now you know what not to do and how not to do it. So just keep shaving it off. And again, you probably shouldn't do it like this at home because you will most likely cut yourself. Grab my file. Put it up here. Now that'll work. Again, take your marker and mark this. Now here's the good news about making this one big magnet. You can put that magnet anywhere on that arm. Take it off, flip it over. Put a little bit of glue on this arm here, just a drop. That's all you're going to need. Make sure that the dark side that you marked is there. What I like to do with this is, again, I get my sticky tack out. Put this here like this. Take some of this old foam stuff that I've had. And I just go like this. Set it down there like that. Let the magnet do its drying thing. Now we're going to take a look at this while that's drying. We've got a slight problem here. Probably the toughest part of the model, actually, is getting this in and out to make it a multi-model kit. Because I'm sure the design was to put it together and then put it in. So let's look at the other one. Maybe this one will go in better. Not really. So how do you get that in and out of there? Well, there's a couple of things I can see already that we should do. Now, very carefully, I'm going to take my file. I'm going to file these down. I don't want to go too much because, well, once you go too much, you've gone too much, and then you're going to have a big ugly gap. Which there's a chance you might have a big ugly gap anyway. I'm going to move this off to the side since it's in the way. And we're going to work this in here until it fits in. Now, this right here is a problem too. And right there. So I'm going to take some of this off. Now there's a couple ways you can do that. You can use nippers, because you're going to have to take a good bit of this off. So I'm just going to start by gradually taking off little pieces here. I don't want to take off too much because I want to be able to get it in and out of the model without too much of a gap. I suppose since it's a troll, you could do something like put some camouflage fungus on it or something to get it in and out. See, that wasn't so bad. It's a decent fit. Question now is, can you live with that while you play? If it's not a showpiece, I wouldn't mind that so much. That's kind of annoying. So, there's a couple things you can do there. You can put a magnet in there. You can pop it back out. Maybe. I wasn't ready for this to come in here to get put in. So I'm probably going to snap this in half to get it out of here. A little more filing. Might be all you need. Now, as you watch as it slides in and out, see it's a little tight here and there, but it's getting better. That is going to be annoying. I am definitely thinking I'm going to have to magnetize that. The question is, what size magnet am I going to need to make it work? Actually, it's binding right here. I can see that now. So in order to make this a good fit, you're going to have to spend a lot of time filing it. Like right there and right there, at that big muscle at the base there, it needs some filing. Which is the question is, do I'm not sure filing it here is going to help any, because the problem, I think, is actually here where the skin meets. But we'll find out. And actually, that helped quite a bit, actually. I still think a magnet is going to be in order. And I don't think that a 1mm magnet is going to be enough. Where is it hitting me? I don't think there's anything you can really do about that without putty, because it's really hitting there. I mean, I have to work to get that to close. Let's try the other side. Let's get the other side in. Let's nip off the bottom. And actually, you could probably nip off the whole bottom and make this work. And since this is an experimental model, I might as well just try that. Nip this off a little bit more. Try and make this one a little bit easier. Still, I'm going to need to do some filing on it. Need to file that off right. Actually, I'm going to cheat right off the bat, and I'm going to nip that piece before I file. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to file it down. Round that edge up a little bit. And see how it goes in. Well, that one is nice. See, that one fits nice. You know what? I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other one. Because that doesn't need a magnet. All I got to do... It is a little bit of work to get it out, and you know, if you really care about your paint job a lot, you're going to have to take extra measures to protect it, like with a varnish or something, so you don't continually chip it, because this is going to, right here and right here, unless you are happy with a gap in your model, you're going to wear and tear paint. So I'm going to grab my nippers again and nip off the bottom piece here, because that seems to be what did the trick. And we're going to see if it does the trick on this one too. This one's a little bit of a different shape, so we will find out. I'm a when it comes to I'm not like, you know, a great sculptor or anything like that. So when it comes to making things go for double with my budget, with having 3 kids and only making about, you know, enough to get by, I want to make things go farther. And one way to do that is this model kit is like a $35 kit, I think. I'll have to double check that. In the magnets, I think the whole kit cost me like $10, so for $40 I get 2 $30 models. I'm game on that. My kids are game on that, because then they get to play. I really am trying to avoid putting a magnet in here, because if I do it on this one, I have to do it on the other one. So I should really try and find the problem. The problem is there. It's too tight. So without glue or a magnet in there, which I kind of don't want to put a magnet in there because I want to do something for the heads, because well, that one's upside down. But again, that's deep. That's not so deep. And it's flat. Basically what I need to do is take my other big magnet and put it in there. I need to glue this and put that in there. Maybe put some of my putty in there. Actually, that's what we're going to do. Just a little. I don't want a lot on this because I want the magnet to sit down in there on top of it. Where's mine? That's too big. Take that sprue, handy tool, kind of push this down in here. And actually what you can do, I'm kind of doing this the backwards way. I really want this to sit down in there kind of deep. So I'm going to just use the head. I'm going to push it in there. You can always come back and clean that off. And then I'm going to take that magnet that I lost. Just tag it. Oh, right here. Then I'm going to put this down in here. See, I want some of that out. That's too high. I can leave that on there. I can dig the putty out with something else, like my sprue. Take the head again. That's pretty flat. Put this magnet in there. I don't really care which way it goes in. Just so that the magnet is recessed so I don't have to do any drilling. That's what I want. I mean, it's a neck. That's fine like that, in my opinion. All I gotta do is put the right side on there like I did on the arm. Oh, for the arm, I recommend a slightly larger than a 2mm magnet. Or, you can do what I'm gonna do right now. Beef it up a little bit. I put in a second one on because I don't have any bigger magnets right now. They didn't come in. And I have 500 of these 1mm ones, so I might as well use them, right? So, I just do that. I just dropped it. It's sticking to something. Sticking to that. There we go. Do that. Mark that side. Now it's going to be a little bit challenging to glue this on to the arm because, well, it's the opposite end, so it's going to want to stick to it. So I'm going to have fun with that. But that's okay. Make sure you flip it over right away, so that when you go and you glue it to the arm that I'm going to put back in the sticky tack, it'll work. And I'm going to use Zip Kicker on that one because I want it to dry before the magnet takes control. Now that, I'm just going to let that dry in there. And as you can see, if I just go like this with a couple of magnets, again I can double them up. That'll work probably. Drop the magnet on there. pull one off. It looked like there was more than one in there. You can go like that. And where's his head? Where's the head? Any head will do. Okay. Well, that one I'll have to drill a hole in and recess. But that's okay. The other one, see, that's the other reason too. You want to be able to, there's that. Well, I guess I'll drill that in and recess it too. But you know how to do that part. You'll just drill out however deep you need it to be. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, and I'm going to do the same thing on this. I'm going to put a magnet in it. I kind of don't want to, but I think I have to. So I'm going to go ahead right through there. I'm going to drill it in. And I'm going to take the time and be a little bit more meticulous with this one, because there is a big hole there. So I really only want the magnet to be flush. Let's see how I did. Now, what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to take a magnet, drill it out to the right space, and I'm going to paint my drill bit so I know how far to drill. Because this is a little bit of a pain in the butt. And you slide it in there. Just like that. Pop this other one off. Wait. Mark it first. Pop it off. Let it fall down. It doesn't matter. You're going to pick it up with your tool anyway. Hard part is getting it to the right side. There's the marked side. Set that aside. That's pretty much flush. Now the hard part. Putting this back in here and marking that magnet. You're just going to go like this with your marker. My mark is right there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. My mark is right there. And I'm going to mark right across from it. And my mark is not very far in on this piece. So you can do one of two things to make sure you get it right. You can burr your hole out a little bit, or you can kind of guess where it should be. Guessing is going to be kind of tough because there's no line on this one to go by. But this is about, I don't know, 3/32 of an inch, so it's not very far. Actually, in this case, it's pretty much a drill bit down. So, right about there. And if you can see, you can't see. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have stopped drilling once I started. I was trying to show you how I had it lined up. Anytime you look straight down, you can see the mark. You just kind of go straight back from there. Except on this one, I kind of want a little bit of an angle. And I am going to put a little bit of glue in this one, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper because I've got more space to work with. I just want to make sure that I can get the magnet in there. I'm going to put a drop of glue in to make sure that it does its thing. Hopefully, this all matches up, and the magnet will be strong enough to hold it in place. I don't think that this magnet is going to be strong enough to do that. I think that in order for it to work, something needs to change here. But the magnet is the first step. So we're going to take my magnet that is on my blade, dark side up. I don't think I got that deep enough. So we're going to drill it out a little bit more. Pull it out. Put a drop of glue in there. Now the tricky part. You got to make sure that you wipe enough of that off. And you have to hold it flush. Set that aside and let it dry, because you're not going to be able to test it or anything until it's dry. Really can't do anything over here yet. Well, I can pull this off because I'm pretty sure this is dry. And I can show you how two magnets will work. Except I moved it a little bit, but that's okay. Look at that. Two magnets. One magnet, when that epoxy dries, you'll be able to swap these arms in and out. Probably going to have to flush them off a little bit. I was not expecting the epoxy. That's the wrong side. Take this arm, this hand here. Boom. And where is the bomb? Is this the one? Nope. The bomb. That magnet's too deep. I'm going to have to put another magnet. Oh. I'm going to have to put another magnet in there. Or, well, I'm going to have to file that down some. Because that magnet is about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch down in there. And if you can look at it anyway, I want to do that anyway because there's a big gap around that hand. So I'm going to spend some time filing that down, getting it flush with the magnet so the magnet sticks. That's okay. You can pop this side in. Take a look at it. That's not so bad. You got a magnetic hand here. That works for me. Pop it in and out. Might need to shave this a little bit to get it in and out better. That helped a little bit. Maybe even just see. It's a real catch-22. If you want your model to be multiple, you're going to have to either live with damaging the paint or a gap there. Maybe you can create something that's like a filler every time you swap it in and out. Now I only have 2 of 3 heads, and I'm missing a couple of other little pieces. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at this again. I'm not ready to do these heads. Well, maybe I am. I can go ahead and drill these out on camera just to show you how I'm only going to do this head for. Well, I'm going to do the flush head. And I'm going to try and, it doesn't really matter because I'm gluing the magnet into this as to where I put it again, as long as it's strong enough to hold it. So I'm actually going to go low on this model with the magnet, because that way if I need 2, I'll have space, whereas if I put it right in the middle, I won't have maybe all the necessary space. And I'm going to be generous with my drilling. This is a soft plastic, so it was easy to burr that hole out a little bit more than I needed. But see, it's a tight fit. So I'm just going to push it down. Maybe at some point in time in its career, I will need to pop that magnet out and glue it, but for now, look at that. And there you have it, pretty much. Let's see how this worked. Yeah, that's what I thought. Magnet's not strong enough to make that bend. So we're really going to have to play around here to make that work. I'm going to pop this arm off, get it out of my way. I think what I need to do is I need to grab a round file and I need to focus on this a little bit. It is a little bit of a pain to do this, but still, I mean, the model's going together fairly nicely. I don't think I've been working on this an hour yet, so I don't know. I think it's worth it. You really have to be fidgety. See, it's already getting better, and that is popping out. So the magnet is grabbing. So I'm going to push that back in as best I can. I'm going to file this off a little bit more too, because I think that burr is part of the problem. Pop it back in here real quick. It looks like I'm going to have to pop my magnet out because it's too high on the model. Well, it wouldn't have worked that way then. I don't think I would have been too close to the bottom. Bear with me. I'm going to give it a little whack. Make it go flush. Yep. It's now flush, so that should help when I get that far. Well, it's almost flush. I'll be able to live with that gap when I get that far. But right there is the potential problem, and right there is a potential problem. So I either have to file off here. I'm going to go with on here. I think that'll be easier because I can hold it better. Good bit of filing to make this work. Now on the other side. Oh, that's a lot better. Look at that. I can live with that gap as a gamer. So now we're going to start kind of assembling it, and you have seen how to do a lot of it. I would suggest using at least a 2mm magnet instead of the 1mm magnet that I used, but it works, and I actually kind of like the fact that I can move his arm pretty much any way I want. I'm still a little concerned as to whether or not, if I put a hand here, whether or not it'll hold it. Let's see if I can get one of these in here real quick. Where's my flat? Take this burr off. Maybe I can get one of these in here with some sticky tack to see how to show the 2mm models for you. I've used up pretty much an hour of our time, so I'm gonna say, hey, this is how you do it. Little piece of sticky tack here. Put that in there. This is look at that with two 1mm magnets. Obviously, it's a little weak. So I would suggest at least a 2mm magnet, maybe a 3. Because when you move them around the table, it's going to fall. It's not going to fall off per se, but I think I'm going to put a third one on there. Actually, I am going to put a third one on there and let it dry, because I can. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab another magnet and we're going to mark it, because 2 definitely did a lot better. And look at that. It went right on there. I'm going to mark that side. There's really only one spot I can glue it on. Worst comes to worst, I go to another magnet. These will break off easy enough, but I don't have another magnet here right now, so this is what I've got to work with. And I lost my cap to my pen somehow. Well, anyway, pop this off. Seems like this magnet's a little bit stronger than the other ones. Put a drop of glue on there. Get it so when I set it down that it's going to be pretty flat. Just a little drop. I'm going to hold it in place while I zip kick it. Let it dry. Move it off to the side, let it dry a little more. Then we're going to look at the back side here. There's two pieces that go on to make the different models. You have the chain gun for the Blitzer that goes right here. Like this. I think it's supposed to go like that. Yeah, it does lean down. And it's supposed to have a gunner. Looks like I'm missing some pieces, folks. So, there's not a whole lot you can do. I mean, I don't feel comfortable drilling this because my bit and the magnet are about as wide as that piece. I'm missing some pieces. I'm gonna have to get off my job here and email customer support and get some more pieces. But that's okay. I can still work on this. So I'm just gonna glue a magnet right about there. Well, actually, I'm gonna glue two of them there, and then I'm gonna glue it to the gun so I can pop the gun off and on. And the other piece, I'm gonna have another magnet on. Is the little goblin lighter for the other one, and he goes on the back side as well. Oops, I got him backwards. He goes on the back side as well, kind of leaning to the front. So I'm just going to put two magnets on there. Actually, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to take the whole stick and just hold the stick. I'm going to take a drop of glue, tiny drop of glue. And I'm going to go like this. And I'm just going to hold it there. I don't feel comfortable. It's not a showpiece. This is going to be pieces I'm going to use in my army. So I don't feel comfortable drilling this out to magnetize it. So I'm just going to cheat as best I can to save myself a little bit of money. Do that. That's a big gun now. Go like that. I'm going to take a drop of glue. Little bitty drop. Glue it on there. Hold it as best I can. Grab the zip kicker. I have a guy with a gun that's not magnetized. I can move the gun around if I have to. If I ever make myself another one of these, I'm not going to have it shooting right down. I'm going to have the guys riding up here more. I'm going to put the magnet like that. I already can see that I want. I like that better. Now, I'm going to take this again. Now watch this. I got an extra magnet on there. I'm going to make sure that I have this guy in the right direction here. He should be looking forward, I believe. Yep, his flaming candle of light stick is behind him. I'm going to put a drop of glue on him. I'm going to get my zip kicker ready. Hold him like that. My zip kicker's about done. Sticking on my thumb. Look at that. Bam. Yeah, you got to deal with that. Those two magnets there. And, you know, I probably could have recessed it in here. And you know what? I might still do that. I'm going to have to let everything dry and take a look at it. But I certainly don't feel comfortable drilling into this model. So no matter what, I'm going to have them off a millimeter. And that doesn't look that bad. The fact that I can swap it in and out, I'm very happy with. I am going to have to get off. Now this one, yeah, I am definitely going to go back after the video and recess that so this sits down here. Because there's too much weight up front. And it works, but and then we're going to swap this out real quick so you can see the Mauler. Rah. And where is dude's head? Swap out. Oh, I didn't drill his head. I was only going to do the one. So, there you have it. The simple instructions on how to swap your Mauler, Blitzer, bomber in and out with 1mm magnets. Oh, before we forget, let's show you with 3 magnets. Wow, that is a lot stronger. Take that hand I had, put some sticky tack back on it. Be generous with the sticky tack. Yeah, it still falls a little bit, but it's nowhere near as wimpy as it was. I like this idea. Rah. Oh, that's the one I'm going to have to recess. But, there you have it. A Mauler, Blitzer, bomber for War Machine's Hordes in a figure forge. Again, the materials you need for this are patience. You're going to need a round file and a flat file to file off the edges. 1mm magnets, 2mm magnets, some green stuff. Not a lot of green stuff, just some. And the model. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. This is a figure forge with Matt Lemke at Through Gamer Goggles, gamer-goggles.com. If you have any questions, please leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know if we're doing this right, wrong, or if you think there's a better way. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter.